from GC 90.7's Studio A on the campus of Gulf Coast State College. RAPLINE with Emily Blaze.
Wounded warriors from across the country will be visiting Panama City Beach for a week of rest and relaxation thanks to the local organization Warrior Beach Retreat. And today on RAPLINE, we'll meet the president and founder of Warrior Beach Retreat, as well as some of the volunteers with the group, and tell you how you can get involved in the big parade route and a big service coming up as well. This is RAPLINE. I'm Emily Blaze. Thanks for listening and watching. And joining me today, welcome back to the show, Linda Cope.
Thank you for having me.
Great to see you again, and great to talk about this wonderful organization. Also with us, Jonathan Cope. Hey, Jonathan, how are you?
Good.
And Mark McQueen.
Good. How are you doing, Emily?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And I think first we'll get started with Linda. For those who may be new to the area or don't know, what is Warrior Beach Retreat and where did the idea come from?
Well, Warrior Beach Retreat is a local Northwest Florida charity not affiliated with Wounded Warrior Project. And we started it because our son lost both legs above the knee and wounded his hands by an IED blast in Baghdad, Iraq, November 12th, 2006. And so we just felt really the Lord put it on our heart to do something, not to just minister to the wounded warrior, but also the caregiver. And so we started this. We're going into our 6th year, actually, and we do twice a year, and it's 8 days, 7 nights, and they're severely combat wounded since 9/11, and they come locally and from all across the country. And this community is what makes it possible.
So, Linda, how many people do you have come into this event?
Well, we usually have around 50. We're working around 60, and we have a waiting list. So it's the largest group coming in that we've ever had, but it's exciting. We're looking forward to it.
And this is all at no cost to the warriors and their caregivers.
Absolutely. We ask them to get here, but for those that can't, we do cover transportation. And once they arrive, everything is covered. And we're grateful for the support of the community. Lake Town Wharf with the resort collection is the management of that, and Claire Pease is doing the property out there. They're hosting us, and so we're very grateful. And once again, Panama City Toyota is providing vehicles, and then we have numerous restaurants and venues on the beach that are hosting them, and everything is on our website, thewarriorbeachretreat.org, warriorbeachretreat.org.
And so tell me about where in the country are some of these folks coming from?
I believe this time we have some from California, maybe even New York. My husband handles so much of the emails with these warriors, but they are from states all across the country, Michigan, and so there's so many coming. So it's amazing.
And what type of injuries do some of these people have?
Well, we are actually bringing a couple from Walter Reed, and most of them are the PTSD injuries, the ones you do not see, but we do have some amputees coming. And what I have found, it's the wounds you don't see that are the worst. And they're glad to be able to come to an organization that looks at those unseen injuries of war as something that also needs to be addressed. And so we're grateful to be able to do that.
So give us an idea of, because your son went through this, give us an idea of what the wounded warrior goes through once he or she has been wounded, and then what happens immediately after and before they go home.
Well, when our son was flown to the cache in Balazs when he was severely wounded, flown from there to Landstuhl, and then from there to Walter Reed, and we got the call, and they didn't have us go to Walter Reed until his plane hit the ground. They said, and that's because if there's a concern they're not going to make it, they change plans. Things change because some of these warriors don't make it on the flight over. And then from there, he was in rehab for about a year at Walter Reed for probably, 4 months. And then they ran out of room up there because there were so many injured coming to that area. He went to San Diego to finish his rehab. And it's just a journey. It's a roller coaster ride is what I'll say. And there's a lot that goes on in these marriages because they're not the same man or woman that come back. And it's a new normal that some just can't handle. You know, some of their families can't handle it, and there's so many families that don't survive this. And so we're just there to try to gird up these marriages, especially, and or parents that come with their wounded warrior, because you know I've got something here. It's from a surgeon, Earl T. Hecker, that was at Lonsdale, and he talked about this is what he's considering the lost generation, and it's an injury war. The other wars, these men and women would have died. And he said he has seen catastrophic injuries that he's never seen as a surgeon over there because of the IEDs. And most of these are young men and women in their 20s. And you take a young man and you take off some limbs and you have the PTSD, TBI, and they have to know that there is a hope and a future for them. There's something they can live for. And we as a nation need to provide that for them. And coming on these retreats, most of them are retired that come here, and they reconnect with people from all across the country, and they feel like they're part of a unit. And then when they leave, they call these people if they're having a rough day. Some of them even go stay with other families if they need a break from their wounded warrior, and they come together and vacation in our area. So there's a lot of healing that goes on because they feel like they're connected again.
And tell us how Joshua's doing today, your son.
He's doing good. He's into bodybuilding and working out quite a bit, and probably in the best physical shape that he's ever been in. So we are thankful for that. He's taking care of himself and actually going into some competitions for that. So we're glad, but he's doing well. He's doing well.
And he has a family?
Yeah, Eric and the 3 kids will actually be up here for Easter. And he's not going to make it this time, but just continue to keep them in your prayers, as well as all the other marriages and families that will be coming.
And we'll talk to you a little bit more about why you guys focus so much on the caregiver, but wanted to talk to Jonathan and to Mark. Jonathan, how is it as a brother of someone who's been through such a severe injury? How does that impact you?
Well, it impacts me to know and appreciate that he's still alive, and he paid such a high ultimate price for our country that freedom's not free. And knowing that he's gone through a lot of, not just outside, but inside emotional. And just knowing that he's still here and knowing that I can still talk to him and just enjoy his company, and been through a lot. And but I'm glad I get to help out other wounded warriors and wives, and I get to see what my brother and his wife gone through, and I get to encourage others to not give up, but to keep going, and just come to the new normal of living life and be there for them and ask them how they're doing and just be their friend and just be there for them, and just whatever, just talk, live life. Yeah.
And so tell us about the line of work that you're in and how you use that to help some of these people.
The line of work I'm in my 3rd year of Bible college, and I'm getting my bachelor's degree in biblical studies. How I do that is I minister and I tell them that as a Christian guy, I just let them know that God loves them and He has a plan for their lives, and I love them too, and knowing that it's just through God's love that God spared their lives, because that God had the purpose for their lives too, and not to just don't forget that, and just remember that, knowing that I'm here to pray for them and whatever, or it's just able to be the person there for them when they need it, and just encourage or pray or just whatever, and how they're walk with the Lord if they're a Christian. But anyways, yeah, it's just how I get to encourage and just to let them know that they're not alone. And so, yeah, we're in this together, and don't give up. So, yeah, and there's a reason why you are alive. So don't despair. Yeah.
And you are listening and watching RAPLINE here on GC 90.7 and GC TV. And if you're just tuning in, we're talking about Warrior Beach Retreat. It is the local grassroots group that brings in wounded warriors from all across the country for a week here on Panama City Beach. Mark McQueen with First Baptist Church downtown, you guys are busy preparing for a huge event coming up on the 16th of April.
Yes, we are. And I'll tell you, Emily, it's just a great privilege to partner with Warrior Beach Retreat. And let me just share as an aside, Jonathan is very humble. He didn't share that he goes so far as actually conducting weddings for some of these wounded warriors. He has been totally immersed and involved in their lives, and has just been a tremendous asset, not only to the organization, but more particularly to each of these wounded warriors. So I did want to give a little plug on Jonathan. But I'll tell you, First Baptist Church is just delighted to be hosting for the 5th year the Wounded Warrior Salute. And it's going to be on the 16th of April, as you indicated, and it'll be starting at 5:30, and it'll go until 6:30 at the church. And it is open to the public, and it's free of charge, and it's our opportunity to show these men and women how much Bay County appreciates them and their sacrifice, not only to the warrior, but to the caregivers as well.
And you really want to pack out that church.
Absolutely. The church holds over 2,900 people, and we've got a seat for everyone, and then if not, we'll put some more seats in if we need to.
And I think once people hear the story behind the guest speaker, they're really going to be inspired to attend. Tell us about the guest speaker.
Emily, this year we're just very fortunate to have a retired United States Air Force general, 4-star general, Fig Newton. General Newton is a hero, a grassroots guy coming out of South Carolina. He's the son of a sharecropper. He went through the ROTC program, got commissioned in the United States Air Force as a second lieutenant, and went all the way through and retired as a 4-star. He was a command pilot, and he flew over 4,000 hours. He had 79 missions in Vietnam flying F-4s. He's flown F-15s, F-16s, and F-117 stealth fighters. And he also used to fly for the Thunderbirds. And so just an incredible man who has an encouraging word for these men and women that he'll be speaking to at the Wounded Warrior Salute.
And if you want to check out this salute, all you have to do is show up on the 16th. It starts again at 5:30, First Baptist, downtown Panama City.
Yes, that's exactly right. Plenty of parking. And we would just love to have Bay County turn out and show these men and women that their sacrifice was not in vain. And what's also unique about it, Emily, let me just share with you, is after the program at 6:30, we're going to have a meet and greet opportunity where the community will have a chance to meet and greet these heroes, welcome them home. You know, these men and women went from the battlefield to a hospital bed to any town USA and never really got a hero's welcome. Well, here in Bay County, under the leadership of Warrior Beach Retreat, that is all changing. They have a massive parade coming from Lake Town Wharf, and if you'll go to warriorbeachretreat.org, their website, it has the parade route and all the time hacks for April 16th. The parade will culminate at First Baptist Church at about 4:45 that afternoon, and at 5:30 is when we will start the program. It'll end at 6:30. The meet and greet will follow, and we're just delighted to host this and partner with Warrior Beach Retreat.
And now, Linda, I know each time you come on the show, you like to talk about the caregiver, and tell us why Warrior Beach Retreat really puts that focus on the caregiver.
They, to me, are the unsung heroes of war. And nobody knows what goes on behind closed doors, but besides those that are taking care of these men or women that have been affected by war. And we have seen it with our son and his wife. You know, you need the support, not just for the wounded warrior, but for the people taking care of them. And that's what, there's a lot of wonderful groups. You can't do enough to help these men and women across the country. And I'm grateful for all the support and help they get. But so many focus only on the wounded warrior. And that's great, but there's a caregiver at home that she or he feels forgotten, and they don't feel like they're getting the support they need. And when they're here for this length of time, there are people they can connect with and spend time with, and they feel the strength to carry on. Because we have couples come that have been on the verge of divorce, and they decide, I can make this happen. I have a support group. I have somebody I can call. And I'm not the only one that's struggling like this. And I think isolation is the biggest enemy of anybody. And if you're isolated, you feel like you're alone and nobody else is dealing with what you're dealing with. I believe that's why we have 22 men and women a day that commit suicide. And that's too high a number. And we as a community are making headway to make that not happen. We can't help the nation, but we can do our part, and this is a big part with what happens in this community. So we are so grateful for the help and support, and for First Baptist Church hosting, because they do it on a grand scale. You know, Mark is a general in the U.S. Army, if I am able to say that, and he does it with a military. How is that ceremony? You do it with a military type program?
Yes, exactly, and we're very fortunate to have such great support from our local military that are assigned here, and they are all in to support these men and women. It's amazing.
So, Linda, tell us about the parade. I know you really encourage people to come out and line that parade route.
Yes.
What type of emotions and what type of healing happens when these men and women travel through that parade route?
It is just really beyond words. We have a box of Kleenex in every car, and they ride in their own vehicle with their name on the side, with their branch of military. And they drive down those streets and they weep because so many of them have not gotten a hero's welcome. Like Mark was saying, they go straight from the battlefield to home. And a lot of them start to think, my sacrifice, was it in vain? And they come to a community that by the thousands line the streets, and they go, I'm not forgotten. And the community's crying right along with them as they drive by, because their windows are down and they're shouting, thank you, Sergeant Cope, as he goes by, and because their names are on the car. And healing, I've heard, is not just for the warrior, but for this community too. And in the beginning of the parade, we will have 5 Vietnam vets that they never got a hero's welcome, riding with their spouses or a caregiver in the front of the parade. And I have heard stories from these men and women that the closure they got and the feeling of honor they never, ever received, it just changed their lives. It changed their lives. So lining that parade route, it's on our website, warriorbeachretreat.org, leaving Lake Town Wharf at 4:15 and arriving at First Baptist Church around 4:45. And everybody in this community can play a part. You can donate, warriorbeachretreat.org. We have a PayPal account. We're a 501c3, so it's a tax write-off. But maybe you can't give a donation, but you can be on that side of the road. And everybody can play a part to help heal these men and women. And they'll never know till they get to heaven what everything they did made an impact. There's no little thing. There is no little thing to honor these men and women. And like Mark was saying, there's nothing that he's aware of. We talked about this before we came on. There's a lot that goes on, but when you have a whole community healing men and women, from what I've been told, we have men and women from all across the country. They've never seen this before. So I want people to realize you are making an impact. You're making a difference. And again, come to the church. Pack out the church. You'll be in and out 5:30 to 6:30. We're not going to keep you there long. And if you can't stay for the meet and greet, you can go home. But we're really, and that they appreciate that when people come to see them and hear the speaker too. So
now I know all of this could not happen without volunteers. Tell me about your volunteers.
We have a great support team that helps with this. We've been having meetings like every other week, 4 meetings. And we'll average 25 to 28 people in the community that come and they go, I want to help, I want to help. So we have people that put out flyers, signs, that help make the brochures, put things together. And then again, all the volunteers in the community. It's just phenomenal. It cannot be done. There's not one person that makes this happen. It's a team. It's a community. So we are grateful for all of our supporters and volunteers. And again, First Baptist Church I can't imagine the team you've got behind you guys out there for all that you're doing. They put centerpieces on these tables. I think, Sunday school classes. And everything's done with excellence, and that's what this community does. They gave their best. So we don't need to give them secondhand anything. And they feel that. And they feel the love. They feel it's genuine. We never want them used for political or financial gain. And they know that. So they come here and they sense that from us, from the community. And only then can they truly heal. Because if you feel like you're being used, you just clam up.
And there are some organizations that do that.
Yes, sad to say. And they have told us about those. And I pray that they'll realize that's not what it's all about. And they'll change their motive because they're doing great things to help them. But that's why we're very careful with them. And I think I'm a mom with a son that's so wounded. That's where my heart is. I don't ever want him used. And so I know as a Christian, we all have a choice to make in our life to take what Satan meant for bad and turn it for good or let it destroy us. So we've chosen to turn it for good, to bring hope and healing. And I think because we have felt the pain of this war, the warriors feel it. And they know that it's not just a good deed I'm doing. We've been through hell with our son.
And this is to everybody here. What do you think our listeners would find surprising about Warrior Beach Retreat?
Well, I think the thing that is interesting, that's most surprising about Warrior Beach Retreat is somewhat what Linda just alluded to, and that is that there is nothing but a pure motive to help these men and women know that their sacrifice was not in vain, that there is healing, and that they collectively that they can move forward and their marriages can be saved. It's atypical for what you see in these types of warrior organizations. All have different purposes, but I think the purpose that Linda has is just hit probably the most salient point, which is saving lives and saving families. And that's just really a tribute to her and Philip and Jonathan for what they have done. And it's all through the tragedy that they faced. The triumph is yet to come.
Jonathan, what do you think people would find surprising about the event?
That people's lives are getting changed and really touched, and they feel the love, and they feel like they're not a freak, but they feel like they're really individuals, and they're not they don't feel like they're something. But they feel like they're loved on and they're cared for, and they appreciate what the people, because they're appreciative of their sacrifice, and they just it's overwhelming for them, and that's amazing. And I just want people to know that they feel that they're doing something for these warriors and make them feel like at home and welcome, and just so.
Linda, surprising. What are some surprising things that people may not know about Warrior Beach Retreat?
Well, I just want them to feel and know the impact they make by loving on them. And just an example is we had a warrior and his wife come, and we've never seen anybody so angry on our last retreat. And it wasn't until the share time that he opened up, and these men will cry and shake because it's stuff they've kept stuck inside for so long. But by that time, they come Tuesday, this is Sunday morning, and he heard other people's stories, and he said, I thought I was alone. I thought I was the only one that had these thoughts. And he felt the love, because one of the things we talked to our team about, hurt people hurt people. So we are very careful to keep giving extra love and attention to those that are trying to push us away. And that was a major life transformation for him and his wife. She was pregnant, and I believe it saved that marriage. And he was a man that we found out later that had attempted suicide about 5 times. And that's not going to be happening to him anymore because of what this community did. So we hear the stories, and it's life-changing for us, but for us to be able to hear what they have to say and tell us about the impact this community's made, it makes you want to keep doing it more and more, because this community's making a difference. It's tremendous. It's tremendous. I wish they could all be flies on the wall just to see and hear everything.
Well, since they can't do that, give us just an idea of some of the things that they're going to get to experience while they're here.
Well, we have a deep sea fishing on the Jubilee with Charlie Paprocki. He always donates for them to go fishing, and we're doing it this year on Wednesday. And when they're doing that, the ladies are getting in 2 stretch limos to have a spa day. And most of these women don't get away from their husbands because they're the primary caregiver, but they feel safe with their husbands either golfing, some go deep sea fishing. So the ladies have a whole day of 2 treatments, breakfast and lunch, and all the amenities, and we go to the Hilton Sandestin Resort. And so they do that. But that's a real highlight day. And then the opening ceremony day is very special. The ladies get their hair and makeup done from different salons on the beaches. And Mary Kay helps with makeup at different places. And we're grateful for Jennifer Rader for helping with this. But all these different salons are helping in a great way. And they have free days just to walk on the beach and hold hands. And we have so many restaurants, too many to name because I don't want to leave someone out, that host them. And then they have participant cards that they can go to so many of the beach venues with their name on it, and they just host them there also. But there's downtime where they can just reconnect with their spouse because no children come. And so many of them are wrapped up with kids, responsibilities, doctor's appointments, where they don't really get to focus on one another. And this community allows them to do that.
And again, the big day, the opening ceremony and the parade is April 16th.
Yes.
And your website to get more info.
warriorbeachretreat.org. warriorbeachretreat.org.
And with that, we have just a couple minutes left, but I wanted to go around the table and give everybody a chance if you had some final thoughts that you wanted to get out.
Well, thank you, Emily. I'll tell you, the Bay County and Panama City Beach has received a lot of bad press recently. And it is not warranted when you look in the totality of what's going on in our community. And this event, what this community does to support Linda Cope and Warrior Beach Retreat and the outreach that they have to these men and women that are coming to Panama City to have a respite from the rigors of their rehab is nothing short of extraordinary. And so Bay County can be proud of that. Panama City Beach can be proud of that. And the nation needs to know there is good that is taking place here in this community.
Very well said. Jonathan, any final thoughts you want to get out?
I'm just really appreciative of living in an awesome community that really supports what we do, and hopefully we'll continue to further it more and more to help other warriors and wives that need it. So, yeah.
Linda, any final thoughts today?
Please be praying. I ask the community, the churches, to join in prayer for these men and women that are coming, because that's what's important for them. And we also have chaplains and wives here. If they need to talk to them, they're available. But we covet the prayers of the praying people in this area.
Thank you so much for coming on RAPLINE.
Welcome,
Linda,
Emma.
Jonathan, and Mark, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
And that is a wrap for this edition of RAPLINE. Thanks again to my guests from Warrior Beach Retreat. Again, if you want some more information on that parade route and the opening ceremony, just go to warriorbeachretreat.org. RAPLINE, a service of Gulf Coast State College and GC 90.7. And a reminder, if you're thinking of adding a pet to your family, consider the adoption option. You can always check out one of the many local animal rescue groups or our Pet of the Week from the Bay County Animal Shelter on our Facebook page. For GC 90.7 and RAPLINE, I'm Emily Blaze. Have a great day.